Hi guys, I'm Steve Nettesis, CEO here at Dynamic Capital, and today we're going to discuss best practices once the docs come in and how to get the deals from docs in to the funding table, and more importantly, what is our actual sales process and how to get the deals closed. So the first thing we want to talk about is what happens once we get both the application and the banks from a specific merchant in. Once you hit docs in on the CRM, we're going to go ahead and say docs in. Everyone in the office applauds you. We're all excited about it. But what you have to do next step is you actually have to verify that the application is correct. So you're going to go and review the application. Key points you want to look at are going to be make sure that the business address and the home address, if they're the same, you want to verify if it's a home-based office, or you want to see and you put the correct address in there. You want to make sure the EIN, the birth dates are there, the social security numbers, and the application is signed. Then you want to go down and look at the ownership percentage, and if it's not 100%, you want to go ahead and get the information on the second owner and go ahead and get ahead of that so we get the submissions done. So once the app's in, you've verified it, you've addressed it internally, we're going to go ahead and get a verbal confirmation. You're going to go ahead and reach right back out to that merchant who just submitted all their personal information to you, and you're going to let them know that, hey, look, it's Steven here at Dynamic Capital. I want to let you know the application, the banks are in, everything looks good. Okay, I'm going to let you know right now that the application, I'm going to run it right back up to my underwriting department. We're going to break this thing down, and as soon as it's broken down, we'll be able to work some options and opportunities to you. I just want to confirm your timeline. When did you actually want to start whatever the project they were? This is a really good time just to confirm with them timeline. It helps address the speed at which this process is going to move. Again, if they say, I need it today, I need it today, I need it tomorrow, you better work really fast with this person. You better make sure no one else is calling them or they're not about to take another deal. And if their timeline is next week or the week after, you better not blow them up today and tomorrow and blow the deal out of the water. You want to know how fast or how slow to work on the file. So once you've actually confirmed verbally, you've let them know, you put them at peace. It kind of helps build another wall around this merchant in the event that someone else calls them. They're not going to want to expose their documents to someone else. Additionally, once you get the verbal confirmation, they will be getting an email from Dynamic Capital. It comes automatic. It's done phenomenally by my marketing team, and it just lets them know that, look, hey, look, your docs have been received. So that's going to be step one in the closing process of building some value, building trust, and ultimately kind of building a wall around this merchant simply by letting them know the docs are in, and here's going to be the next step.
How do you build a wall?
Well, that's a really good question. How do I try and build a verbal wall around this merchant when I'm speaking to them? What I'm going to say real simple is, look, Joe, I'm sure you're getting a million calls from people trying to sing the docs. Look, you're in very good hands with me. So you know, Dynamic Capital, I have to build some value here. Here's my value proposition. So you know, Dynamic Capital has been around for over 10 years, has 200 plus 5-star reviews. And at the end of the day, Joe, you're in good hands. Allow me 20 to 48 hours to get you funded before you go ahead and send your application out to someone else. That's fair, right?
Yeah.
And if the numbers don't work, make sense, we're not doing business, are we?
No.
Okay. History tells me when we send me those docs, we're gonna do business today and for years to come. Or now that the docs are in play. Okay?
Yep.
Now, once the documents have been broken down by our admin team, you'll be alerted. Okay? The file will be moved over from docs in into our what we call our MI, our merchant interview phase. It's super important that this process gets done and done well. It's when we take what they call their reality and the truth and we blend them together. All too often during the initial conversation, Joe or Jim or Bob, we are having an issue because they're saying we have no advances. They come to us, they have 2 advances. They say they have no negative days. They have 3 negative days. So what we have to do is kind of make a meshing of the truth, because this guy who thinks he's a gold standard client is really bronze at best. So during the conversation, it's very important You get them on the phone. Okay, you don't say, hey, you didn't tell me you were advances. You say just like this. Hey, Joe, I was reviewing your bank statements. It appears that you have an advance from, name the current provider. Looks like they're taking X amount of dollars each day or each week from account ending, and say the last 4 digits of that account number. It's super important that the merchant knows that you are the one who actually understands the file. So the typical BS that they're going to give the other guy, they're not going to throw at you. More importantly, they're going to know that you're a real person and you probably get the job done. All we're trying to do is fend off all these other people who are coming into a high value target. This person's taking money, right? So I want to review all the advances. I see there's a second position. If there's no deposit number, if we can't see the deposit, ask them, hey, how much did they originally deposit into your account? Ballpark. Always, when you're asking for these things from merchants, preference, ballpark, how much they originally fund you. Because they don't really know, and if they can say they don't know, but people will ballpark much easier than trying to be put on the spot. And the next question you're going to ask is, ballpark, what do you owe them? It's always going to be significantly less than what it actually is, but you just want to hear what it is, okay? And another thing you want to ask is, don't ask what the payback is, ask them, well, how many months was that deal, right? So if you know how much they deposited, how much their daily or weekly payment is, and how many months is the term was, you know exactly what that cost of capital was as well. So it's really cool if we know what their tolerance was as far as rate and term with the other guy. So when we know not to come in too big, or more importantly, too small. Now, while you have them on the phone, it's a really good time. Hey man, so I see you have X, Y, and Z. Okay, when we originally spoke, you were looking for 50,000. If I were to put that 50,000 in there, just tell me how you actually use the money. Let them tell you about it again. Okay, let them talk about that use of proceeds. Let them tell you what the value is having the money. It's really important that they say this again at this time. Excuse me. Now, another thing is, if they're expecting $300,000, $400,000, $500,000 and they're running $60,000, $70,000 in their account, we have to have some sort of come to Jesus here. We have to manage their expectations. Look, we're revenue-based financing, okay? And by that revenue, we're doing roughly 100% of what your gross monthly deposits are. Now, you mentioned your gross monthly deposits are what? Make them say it again. Even though we have it right in front of us, it says 60, they told us 60, make them say what their gross monthly deposits are. Your monthly 60. Yeah, so I can get you probably 60, maybe a little more than that. And I'm sure if I was able to put that much money in your business bank account, it would go a long way, right? And if they say, no, it's 500 or nothing, we know it's nothing. Again, exit the conversation here. Okay, there's no reason to continue this process if they're simply stuck on a number that's unreasonable. But most people, if done properly, will say, yes, I can probably put 40 to 50 grand to work. Why? Because people who are doing gross 40,000, gross 50,000, gross 60,000, highly likely at no one point in time had a lump sum of 40, 50, 60,000 put into their account so they could actually be an entrepreneur, so they could actually be a professional. Instead, they've been kind of white knuckling it, doing it like one piece at a time. But by us putting these big lump sums, 40, 50, 60,000 in their account, it allows them actually to implement the strategies that their business plan called for. But most entrepreneurs are shoestring entrepreneurs, which means we started in our garage, we started at the kitchen table, and we built a business on a shoestring. But by having massive one lump sum of capital in your account, it does amazing things for an entrepreneur. It gives you head and shoulder. Money in this business, and the money in the business world is the ammunition, the fuel for success. Understand that, guys. So now I've kind of like managed, they're not getting 500, they're getting 60. I'm sure you could find something on your desk that could use that. We found that. Let's keep talking, okay? 9 times out of 10, the application they sent you is not the only application that's put out there. You want to ask them, so look, sounds to me like you already have 1 or 2 of these applications out right now, okay? What offers are you currently entertaining? Because I got to tell you, Jimmy, I value your time. I value my energies. You know, if you have a kick butt offer, I'll say, hey, go ahead and run with that. But more importantly, if it's something that I feel I can compete with and outperform, I'm going to go ahead and say, give me the opportunity and allow me the next couple hours to put some phenomenal numbers in front of you. You want to know what you're up against, guys. If they don't tell you, they don't tell you, but you really want to get all this information. It allows you to structure a deal. It allows you to condense the time that it takes to close these deals. All right. So that's the merchant interview. And how I'm going to wrap up my merchant interview is, again, I'm going to just really review the whole application with them. Once I've I'll talk to them about their advances. I talk about their expectations. So I see you're up there in Louisville, Kentucky. I'm going to ask them if they like basketball or the horses. I'm going to do something really quick and personal, and then I'm going to pull it right back out. Then once I've touched them, I'm going to go, okay, so here's what's going to happen next, you know? Now that everything's broken down, I have everything I need. I'm going to go sit down with Esther, the underwriter, and start pushing your file forward. Should I need you, stand by, okay? I may have a question or two, so we get this offer to you. Then I'm going to say, hey, look, save my number. I'm going to go ahead and send the text. Hit me a thumbs up. Now, would it be okay if I called you directly, or should I send you a text before I call? Give them some sort of power. I'll say that again. Now, if I need something, would it be okay if I called you directly, or should I send you a text before I call? You want to not be annoying during their business day. Ultimately, at the end of the day, they want the money, they need the money, but they also are running their business and operating their business on a daily basis. So the last thing you want to do is be a pain in the rear, because again, people like to work with people who make their job easy, make the process easy. So understand that going into that. So now we have the docs in, we've touched them both verbally, and we touched them via email through our marketing email. Once the file's been in the merchant interview stage, we've touched them verbally and we've touched them through our marketing program. Okay? Then the file actually gets submitted. Now, during the merchant interview process, what you're going to want to identify is if this person has ever had alternative funding in the past. Now, in the event they say yes, and there's nothing in their bank statements, you want to reiterate, hey, just so you know what my merchants like about this program is it's revenue based. Okay, we simply look at the strength of your business. Okay, and again, I have the banks in front of me. Looks like you're running anywhere between $100,000 and $150,000 to your business bank account. You requested $100,000. I don't see any reason why I can't provide you with that $100,000 within the next 24 to 48 hours. Now, what you really like about this advance is how we get paid back. Okay, it's fast, it's easy, and what we do is we either break it down to a soft daily, which my merchants really like, or we do it a once a week payment. Is there one that you would prefer? Good, I'll go ahead and make a note of that. Now, in the event they say, well, what is their daily and weekly for? Why can't it be monthly? Well, that's a really good question. So what we do here as a revenue-based financing, we actually advance you your future revenue. So how can I advance you a month's worth of revenue when we don't really know that? We typically look at a daily basis, and we usually take anywhere between 10 and 20% of your daily sales. For example, if you're doing $2,000 a day, well, it looks like you are, typically our payment would be anywhere between $200 and $250 a day. And I'm sure if we took a small daily payment, looking at your average daily balances, that $250 is not even going to affect you at all. At the same time, it allows us to put the $100,000 in your account, allows us to get paid back in a quick and easy manner, and then we get to do it again. Doesn't that make sense to you?
Yeah.
Poof. You better get some sort of confirmation that it makes business sense to them without just blowing through it. You have to get some sort of buy-in. If they don't buy in, if they're saying, I never do a daily, I only do it a monthly, I'm only doing a monthly, we don't offer that. So let's keep it moving. It's not even underwriting. Okay, let's keep it moving, get it out of our system. If I'd only do a 5-year program, I'd only do a 3-year program, I'd only do a monthly. Guess what? That's not in our cards. So let's not even bring that to the table. Tell them, hey, look, I do daily and weekly. I could have the money in your account tomorrow. Is that something that if I could do that, would you be interested? No? Okay, God bless. Keep it moving. Okay, now that we've covered what to do when stocks come in, how to handle a merchant interview, how to manage some expectations along the way, now the deal's been submitted. Okay, so with us, it'll take anywhere between 20 minutes and 5 hours to get an offer back in. During this time, this is not dead time. You can't just forget about your merchant. We have to figure out a way to touch them once or twice during this process. In particular, guys, if you just done the merchant interview at 4 o'clock and you know they're not going to get an offer, don't go the whole day and the whole evening without touching. At the end of every evening, you're going to want to touch every file that's currently in underwriting. Hey, it's Steven over here at Dynamic Capital. Just want to let you know everything looks good. Okay, files in underwriting, looking to get you the most robust offer possible. Okay, you'll be hearing from me first thing, if not mid tomorrow morning. Hold tight, man. Keep an eye out for my call. Again, have a great day and go ahead and kiss the kids for me. You're in good hands now. You must touch them. And then first thing in the morning, before they even start thinking about you guys, you send them a text at 5:30 in the morning. Hey, good morning, Joe. It's Steven over here at Dynamic Capital. Just want to let you know, man, files and underwriting, I'm on top of it. And this is between 5:30 and 7 in the morning before they say, oh, you know what? Wonder what's happening with my money. You want to be proactive. You want to be in their mind. You want to make sure that they're not sending an application out to anyone else. Stop letting competitors get in on your file. Be a pro. In the evening, you're gonna let them know files and underwriting. You'll be hearing from me early morning, if not mid-morning, with some options and opportunities. But before that even gets to that point, between 5:30 and 7 in the morning, you're like, bah, on them. I'll repeat it. Hey, it's Steven here at Dynamic Capital. Just want to let you know, man, I'm on top of your file. Should be breaking from my underwriting meeting sometime early this morning. Okay, you're in good hands. Hold tight. Just touches, man. You want to touch them throughout the day. Okay, and then you even want to get on the call. Ask them something simple. Hey, man, just want to get you on the line. I see there's a strike here on the ports. Is that going to affect your business? How's that going? Yada, yada, yada. And at that point in time, you want to throw out maybe one personal thing. Hey, man, I see you up there in Philadelphia. How those Eagles doing this? Are you a football guy? Are you a basketball guy? Touch real quick and then get off the phone. All these contacts are good stuff. Now, once an offer becomes available, this is where the absolute magic has to happen. You cannot rush this process. We have the offer in front of us. One thing that a lot of brokers are doing is you're waiting for all your offers to come in. Oh, I'm waiting for a credibly. Oh, I'm waiting for this. I'm waiting for that. Where someone else has sold the deal on you. Okay, stop waiting. Oh, guys, it is so frustrating when I'm telling you speed and time wins deals. Oh, I'm just waiting to see how this deals. You guys keep killing yourselves. Guys are going dark or losing good files because you're waiting. So what happens is get the first deal, the second deal that comes in, okay, and you got to get the merchant on the phone. Okay, this is where a conversation happens. This is not where a sale begins. This is where a conversation, the structuring, the customization of the process is going to happen once the file comes in. What you're going to do is you're going to get the merchant on the phone. It's a multi-part close. You have to get the merchant on the phone, and you must speak to them. Okay? You have to take them on the phone. Hey, Jim, Steven here. And again, it's not a surprise because you've touched them all day long. You've touched them 15 times in the past 13 hours. Okay, so all too often you guys have omitted this whole top process. So it's a cold call here for the close. And that shouldn't be. It should be a warm process. It should be everything getting done together. Let's assume the deal is $50,000 over 10 months at a 140. Pretty easy stuff. Where everyone, not just you guys, most brokers are going to go look at the deal. They're going to say max dollar amount, max term, and try and sell it right then and there. Oh, I got the best deal possible. Well, that's not always the best deal possible, max dollar amount and max term. If you may think it's for you, but again, in our industry, we want to condense the terms of these loans. We want to keep them short. What risk is in longer term? Risk isn't going out more than 6, 7, 8, 9 months, okay? They've already forgot about where they got the funds from. The last thing they want to do is keep paying you. More importantly, the shorter the term, the easier it is for you guys to keep renewing and keep making a profit on the deal as you keep helping the merchant. So let's talk about the offer that we have in front of us. It's gonna be $50K, 10 months, 140. Okay, that's our max set. Now, what you have to do is start feeling the merchant out. Now, if you go with $50,000, right? There's no backing off the $50,000 once you told them they're qualified for $50,000. You have to let them know, look, I got you qualified for 40, 45, maybe 50K. And how we preface this conversation, it's super important. It's, hey, look, Joe, I'm getting you back on the line. You know, we've been speaking all day. Looks like we're about to finalize your numbers, but before we did, I'm gonna say this line again. Hey, Joe, just getting you back on the line here. Looks like we're about to finalize our numbers, but before we did, and I stepped into that final funding meeting, I wanna make sure when I walk out, I'm getting you exactly what you want. If you don't preface this with that, we're now reverting back to what they call the coin for close. When you say, hey, Joe, got the $50K over 10 months and paying back 60 grand, you want it? 9 times out of 10, you guys are getting, send me the numbers, let me think about it, I need to talk to so-and-so. That should never happen on this conversation because there's nothing to think about because there's nothing solid, okay? There's nothing as far as payment because we haven't structured it together. That's what this conversation's about. So I'll do it again. Hey, look, Joe, it's Steven over here. I don't have to really reintroduce myself because, again, I've talked to him 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times throughout the day. He's eager to hear what we're saying. I've built this relationship. I've had rapport. Hey, Joe, Steven over here, Dynamic Capital. Hey, about to step into my final funding meeting. It looks like they're about to put a final offer out there for you. Before we finalize those numbers, I wanted to get you back on the line to make sure I'm getting exactly what you were looking for. Now, that being said, when we originally spoke, you were looking somewhere between, 40, 45, maybe 50 grand. Is that correct?
Yeah.
So if I get you in that range, that's the number where I need to be?
Well,
Cool. All right, cool. Cool. So we're fine over there on that dollar amount. Now, before we finalize, term or anything else like that, I really wanted to get you on the line and figure out what a comfortable weekly or daily payment was for you. Okay? I know my underwriter feels that you could afford a payment somewhere around $3,600 a week. But before we finalize any of those numbers, I wanted to know where you felt comfortable. Where did you feel comfortable on a weekly basis, Joe?
I really haven't thought that much, but not 3,600.
Okay, cool, because there's definitely a number that's in your mind that you were thinking was your comfort zone. I don't want to put a number out there that's not your comfort zone. What were you thinking?
2,500.
Okay, so he's at 2,500. Now, guys, I have a lot of wiggle room here, right? Because I don't have to go off the 50 grand anymore, which a lot of people are stuck on. I don't even have to go on the 45 grand. I can go on the 40,000. All right, cool. So I just want to make sure I'm hearing you right. So if I get you somewhere around 40 grand, keeping the payment under, $2,500, $2,600 on the weekly basis is something you would move forward with, right?
Yeah.
If they don't say yes, well, let's do this. I'm going to go break and grab some coffee. Why don't you figure out where that number is so we're going to move forward? Because I'm certainly not going to that meeting until I know where you want to be. Don't rush the process. You hold the cards. Like, well, what do you got? Well, I don't have anything. Well, what's my term? There is no term. First, I got to figure out where your comfortable payment is. Because if your comfortable payment is really low, I got to stretch this out really long. Well, if it's a little higher, I can shorten the term up a little bit, save you some money there. So again, all I'm trying to find right now is your comfortability, right? And then we'll move forward. Because again, unlike the other guys that you're speaking with, and we originally spoke, I told you one of the values of working here at Dynamic Capital is how we customize a program specifically for you and your business. Now, right now where we are, we're in what they call the customization process. And I really want your input here so I get you exactly what you want. That's fair, right? Mm-hmm. So again, if you don't have the comfortable weekly payment, why don't you take some time? Again, no one's pressuring you. figure out where that number is. Again, I know the last thing I want you to do is sleep at night and say, oh my God, what the heck did I do? But at the end of the day, I want to make sure the payment's comfortable. We get you the money you need, because you mentioned that if you had the 40 grand, you were able to do X, Y, and Z, right? And that's so important to us, right?
Yeah.
Cool. So let's take a little time. Back off the call, guys. Don't press anything there right now. This is a multi-part close. Hey, look, Joe. What I appreciate is your participation here, because the last thing I want you to do is take something that I'm recommending versus something that you want and you've crafted. That makes sense, right? Mm-hmm. Again, you want to help them craft the offer together, even though you know the numbers, you know the daily or weekly. Where we get really caught up, guys, is selling that max dollar amount because you can't come off of it. Once you say, I got you 50, they want the whole 50, there's only the 50 doesn't matter. Now, the only thing you come off of is yield. Okay, that means you're giving up points, right? What we want to do is we want to give them a comfort daily or weekly payment. Does that make sense? So other things that we want to do, they want to craft that deal with the merchant. And then once we come up with, hey, so if I'm hearing you right, okay, you want to finalize this with these guys. So if I'm hearing you right, if I got you the 40,000, okay, keep that payment $2,500, or even maybe a little better there, Joey. We're doing some business today. Would it be okay if I got you on today's funding calendar?
Yeah.
Okay. Hold tight. I'm going to go try to finalize these numbers. In the short term, take a picture of your voided check, take a picture of your driver's license, because when I'm negotiating this with the credit committee, I want to let them know that we're ready to go. That's fair, right? Cool, send it to me now. Hold tight. That's like the next closing process. There should be no, hey, I need to think about it. Hey, that's too expensive. Okay. That's why we're having this conversation if that weekly payment's too much, right? That's when this is our time to craft this together. Because again, we may even have to come down off the 40. They may be stuck at $1,200 a week. That's okay too. Okay, cool, great. Let's do this. Let's start with the 20,000, right? Keep you in your comfort zone. And what the cool thing about it is, once you're comfortable at that level, I could simply add another $20,000 and complement that and not affect your daily or weekly payment too much. That's fair, right? We can do that. Now, the next thing you do is once they've agreed to that, you hang up the phone. They've obviously sent you the voided check and driver's license. There's no more, hey, I got you this. It's massive assumption. Hey, Joe, cool. Listen, I got you exactly what you wanted. You know, you said you needed the 40 and the 2,500. As a matter of fact, I got it at 2,250, so I knocked the ball out of the park for you there. Contracts are actually being crafted right now. They're on the way over to you. I have the voided check driver's license. I've attached it to the file. In the short term, send me over the EIN doc. That's your proof of ownership. Cool. Right. Would it be okay if I got you on today's funding calendar, or is tomorrow better for you?
Tomorrow.
Okay, great. Let's go ahead and get all the paperwork today done today, and this way tomorrow you'll be first in line for funding. The mechanics of this never change. Not if the deal is $25,000, not if the deal is $250,000, not if it's $2.5 million. The only thing that could change over here is you and your mindset. Oh, he told me he wanted this. Oh, he told me he wanted that. We only sell very limited product. You have to be a salesperson and let them know that if they wanted that other product, they're shopping in the wrong place. And the reason they have to shop here is they didn't qualify for over there. It's your job to manage the expectations, chip away at what they really think they deserve, and get them to understanding is they're receiving this because of whether it was their negative days, no trade lines, time in business, business type, region, whatever it may be. It's not your fault as the salesperson. It's their issue of how they behave in the past 6 to 12 months. Another thing I want you to do prior to selling the deal is when you're looking at an offer, make sure that you are looking at the steps, okay? What it's going to take to get that deal funded. Now, this is going to be what I call a certain touch, a suaveness. If you are being requested by a funder for P&L, balance sheets, tax returns, all these very things that most of these smaller companies don't have, you kind of got to ask them, hey man, I have a couple different platforms out there that will look at your file. Some require more documentation, some require less. Now, if someone were to request this, would you be able to provide X, Y, and Z? Okay? If they say no, okay, perfect, because that shows me what platforms we can and cannot work with. Now again, guys, when you're selling a higher rate and a higher term and they're complaining about it, you let them know. Look, the reason why we have to work with this platform is because you had mentioned you cannot provide X, Y, and Z. You couldn't provide the payment plan for your tax lien. You couldn't provide 2023 taxes. You couldn't provide the contracts that were requested. So it's not us that elevated the rate, it's your lack of documentation that elevates the rate and term, the rate and lowers and shortens the term. But the cool thing is we can still get you the money even though you lack that documentation. And that's why people come to us. Speed, low documentation, and there's a premium that goes with those types of services. This is the dynamic way, okay? It is best practices. It's going to elevate your sales career, whether you do it here or anywhere else. But I really understand that your closing ratio will go up tenfold. Guys, happy selling and thank you.